Welcome to the Sabbath, or what you call Saturday. Now, there's something that you need to understand when it comes to what you call spirituality, or what you call your genealogy. Genealogy. So, when you're talking of genealogies, we are talking about the gene, or we are talking about what you call the gene code, or we're talking about what you call the genie in the bottle, in this case, your spirit, or what you call your memory. Now, the term ancestor has to be understood on a deeper level. So, if you are to go to Google and check out the meaning of, tell your mom I'm live. This is a short one. It's only 15 minutes to 20, and then I'm on my way. So, according to the dictionary, an ancestor is considered what you can call disembodied being, aka a spirit or a being or an awareness that is already out of this body. That is what you are calling an ancestor, aka a human being that has transcended to their destiny, or a human being that has achieved their destiny. Now, the destiny doesn't have to be a good destiny. So the word ancestor is just talking about a spirit that has achieved its destiny. So it's no longer in a human being, or what you call in the flesh. It's in another realm of existence. So it has fulfilled its purpose of being in this way now. And it can be incarnated or incarnated. So anyone who has gone before you, whether it's your uncle, whether it's your auntie, they don't have to atiameishi sana sana hata kama ni shosho yako. They automatically become your ancestors since they have already achieved their destiny, or they are already out of the body. They have already realized the life of a human being. Hata kama they have died young, they are ahead of you, especially if umewitness. So you are still here. You are more powerful than them, but they are your ancestors. Now, there is this misconception amongst your people, the Southern Kikuyu, na ile kitu mumefunzwa, whereby you think that your ancestors are for you, or will always work for you, or they are up to helping you in whichever way, shape, and form. And this is a misconception. The only time you are going to find the word ancestor in the Bible is if you go to the Old Testament and you go to the book of Leviticus 26:45. So 26 is 8, 45 is 9, so that is 8, 9. So if Leviticus is talking about 8, 9, you know it's talking about a verse, a multiverse, like a metaverse, an infinity, or a universe, and then attaining that wisdom. And 26 is 2, relating, or whatever you are relating to is being paid attention to. That is 6, that creates an 8, and the verse is 45. So you are taking your thought and having a feeling about it. Okay, now when you go to the Bible, Leviticus 26:45, it's talking about the ancestors in what you call a genealogy type of setup, aka the genes or the people you ascended from or you came from. Now, lately, if you have been following things, for example, what has been happening in the West na vitu kama hizo, a lot of people have been trying to track their ancestry. Unasikia film actors, they are tracking their ancestry to Africa, so they are trying to find out or figure out where they came from. So they have been tracing their roots. Unasikia mtu akisema, oh my god, my genes or my DNA has, or I did a gene search. They are doing gene searches. I did a gene search, and the gene search has taken me to Congo. So what that means is not that your ancestors are from Congo. It just means that your genealogy, your genie, your spirit, okay, your Aladdin lamp, the one that you rub and the spirit comes out of, is giving you traces of Congo as a location or what you call a thought form, or a persona, or a character. Okay? Or a character. And so, for example, gomisi yanyu, or what you call your gene types, or those spirits will always reside in your spaces. Kuria kwina muherega wanyu, kana kuria kwe gomisi yanyu, kuria kwe berera kianyu. AKA, you cannot go to the Amboys, ukuje, I give you my red wine or my Moratina, umwage huko kwangu in my own compound, ugane gomisi yanyu rahe, ati this is for my spirits. You can't do that, because those are not your spirits residing on that place. Okay, hizo si zenyu, umekuja kwangu, so na pengine hata kwenye umekuja I'm on rental. So you should be pouring your libations to spiritual predecessors. You have to be very clear that this drink I'm giving to my spiritual predecessors, because you could be having spiritual predecessors, or what you call ancestors, who are working with you, but they are not from your culture. They are not from your moherega. What do I mean? Let's say in your life, as you are growing up, in today's lifetime, your father or your mother, they don't even have to love you. Most of your fathers and mothers don't even love you, or your siblings, or your aunties, or your uncles. So if your mother doesn't love you today, I like using myself as an example. If my mother doesn't love my wife, and if my mother doesn't love my children, my daughter and son and whatever, hata hawajaona kutoka wazaliwa na vitu kama hizo, because you'd have that in the family. What makes you think that when she's dead, now my children can claim that as their ancestors? So your ancestor will only work with you if, when you are alive, you created what you can call a rapport, aka you had a close relationship with that person or spirit, whereby they helped you in one way, shape or another. If they were your enemy, kama babu yako, if your grandfather never gave you anything, if your grandmother never gave you anything, no advice, nothing, they actually didn't even care about you. What makes you think when they are dead, wherever you go, there you are, what makes you think that now that they are dead, they are your ancestors and they are going to work with you? It doesn't work like that. Let me give you an example. When you are creating your altar, okay, when you are creating your altar, sometimes you ask, okay, you are creating an altar, you should have a picture. Shout out to the helicopter, big thoughts, big minds. Every time we are speaking big minds, you have to have a helicopter. Air! Shout out to the air element. In the beginning was the word. A helicopter represents air, word, thought, intellect. Let there be God's mind. Language of the God, if you know how to interpret. Hiyo ni mbogo iko juu sana. Wacha chupa iende kwanza. High thoughts. That's how you know. Now we can continue. Shout out to my spiritual predecessors for making me notice the whatever. Now back to the live. So, let's say, wherever you grew up, there was someone who was not even related to you who came and paid for your school fees. A stranger came and paid for your school fees. Unasikia mtu akisema, no need athomithirio high school ni muthugu. Akidehera high school na university and everything. Now that is a spiritual predecessor, aka that's an ancestor that you can revere. Because that is a spirit that is no longer in your body, left before you, disembodied body, but it's a spirit that was working to you. And that can actually intervene for you more than family members who didn't give a shit about you. Anko yako walikuwa matajiri wa kulipia shule, aunti yako the same way, baba yako watu wenyu ajai kupeleka rurashio, but you have people who can come and do that for you. Those become the actual ancestors who can help you in the spiritual world, whether they were related to you, because by default they were related to you, aka they had more to do with you in your spirit, so their spirit had more to do with your spirit interactions in the spiritual world, to see they needed to help you, to see you excel more than these people you are claiming are your parents or grandparents and claiming they are your ancestors. Na ndio nanga wa mama wengine, they kill their children Asikia mama aliruka kwa mto na watoto, ama mtoto aliua babake, ama baba aliua mtoto yake na vitu kama hizo. So get this clear. Most of you in the spiritual world, the reason you are facing fights is because on your altars, or when you are calling on your ancestors, mureta gomisiroka kumuhora, you are calling on ancestors who never gave a shit about you when you are alive. So you are pouring libation to them. You are following. This is the case of the blind leading the blind. So understand this, that you can have an ancestor, or you can do ancestor revelations or revealing, or whatever you want to call it, with an ancestor who's not even your blood, but they did the most when it comes to you. So feeling is the thing. Go within, identify whose picture do I need to put on my altar. Someone who has left this world as an ancestor, as compared to just thinking that because you are lost in culture, an ancestor is just anyone who was in your family. And some of these people you're even calling ancestors are not even yours, which explains why when you go to ask your grandfather kule umete hata ajulikani, unasikia gutiri mundu kule guka umete. What? You mean to tell me no one knows even where my guka came from? Yes, but I've been calling you my ancestor. Yes. So what makes you even think he was Kikuyu? Because it's a language you can learn. Any language you can learn. Any language you can be taught. If you're born in the Luo, you learn Luo language. It doesn't mean it's just talking. Language. Language. Understand this. Talking is different from speaking. Those are two different things. Speaking is not talking. Those are two different things. You can be speaking a language, but you are not talking. You can be speaking my language, but I can't hear you. Whatever is coming out of your mouth is garbage. So language is not important. Some things don't even need you to say anything. That which needs not be said can be understood. We can understand each other without saying anything. We can meet somewhere and by default, we have a rapport. You understand me. You know, saying you are vibe yangu. We don't even have to say anything. Unajua, we can vibe. So it has got nothing to do with language. So understand how deep it goes when we are talking about ancestors. Stop calling on weak ancestors. Stop binding yourself to weak ancestors who have built nothing, who don't even want you to see you excel or succeed. And some of you have been blocking yourself from working with ancestors who want to intervene and change your life, all the way to spiritual accession, where you are following old and raped and destroyed, and their spiritual practices have been taken over. But you still want to go to those spiritual practices that have been already been taken over and raped and pillaged, weakness. Yet there are spirits out there who are working with you over souls, who are willing to work with you to see you excel, to see you become better. We have beings out of this world that would rather see you. They are willing to give you gifts to see you become better, but you are stuck on purpose. And before you think, this is not a thing, ask yourself this. Why do white people go to lengths of creating mausoleums for people who are from a different race or skin color? It's because those people made them rich. Keyword, there's a statue of Kipchoge Keino at the Nike headquarters. Why? Because to them, Kipchoge Keino is their ancestor. It's someone they can look upon as someone who made billions of dollars out of endorsements and selling Nike products. And that is how deep shit goes. Where tundi uko hapo, stuck in the old world, where you think you know, but you know that if you know, or if you think you know, that you know not, I don't even have to say it. Your Jesus said it. Have a beautiful Saturday. And call on powerful ancestors. Stop calling on to weak ancestors. And for that, I'm switching to sub on a live. So the 2 subscribers watching, nakuja kumalizia hapo. Shout out to the 2 subscribers watching. Now, when it comes to creating your altar, okay? When it comes to creating your altar, kama una altar. Now this is information for you. When it comes to creating your altar, look at someone who truly, madly, deeply had your best interest at heart. So this will be someone who they had your best interests at heart. So they really cared about you. They don't even have to be your skin color. They could have been someone who was a different skin color. It could have been a white person who came and changed your life, who invited you to their place na vitu kama zingine. Now, if they are no longer living, that becomes a spiritual predecessor that you can call upon. So that's the picture that you take and put on your altar. And whenever you need spiritual intervention, guidance and everything, you can call on them. But now, remember this. The same thing you are doing now, right now, the same thing you are doing now is the same thing your ancestor is doing. It's not like your ancestor, they are somewhere sitting in a world that is very different. No. They are doing the same thing you are doing in a different realm of existence. They could still be back into this world. In a different location, doing a different thing, but it means that your path crossed. And as a spiritual being, since your path crossed, they are your ancestors, so they can intervene to help you achieve what you want to achieve. Do have a beautiful day. Enjoy your Sabbath, and Nidhayo.